Twitter sucks. I know this is not news, but sometimes something so stupid happens on the platform that it is just once again a reminder as to why most people should avoid it as far as they possibly can. MrBeast recently uploaded a video where he helped pay for 1,000 people's eye surgery, and to say that the backlash has been crazy would be an understatement. Now, if you are not aware of this backlash, then good for you. It probably means that you are a normal, healthy individual who does not spend all their time on Twitter. But for the rest of us who have been subjected to the most brain-dead takes that there is, unfortunately, we could not escape the internet having a mental breakdown over a person doing a good deed trying to help some people in need out. MrBeast is known for the charity work that he does and even has a channel dedicated just to his philanthropy work, where he does everything from cleaning the ocean to donating millions of dollars feeding homeless people. The criticism from internet weirdos has always been consistent and even holds true in this latest set of attacks as well. They accuse him of only doing these things for views, and to that, I would say, yes, why is this even news? Obviously, he does this to get views, but that does not all of a sudden not cure all these blind people anymore. Lots of people get big platforms that allow them to make millions of dollars. None of those people give back in the way that MrBeast does, so even if he in return gets something out of the charity work that he does, it still does not change the fact that his actions have an extremely positive effect on the people that he helps. His plant tree initiative has inspired millions of people around the world to do the same, and so did his ocean cleaning campaign. It is a net positive for the world, and even if he gets tons of exposure out of it, it does not now all of a sudden undo all of the good. Although certain acts of recorded charity can definitely be bad, MrBeast up until this point has fallen into none of those categories. I would also like to remind everybody that we are having this conversation right now because MrBeast had the audacity to help pay for people's eye surgery who otherwise would still have been visually impaired. I am sure that those people who received the surgery do not care what the motive behind the help is. The patient consented, the doctor consented, MrBeast consented, but apparently, Twitter user 3115 did not, so here we are. With that said, there is a larger conversation to be had here regarding who should actually be paying for these types of surgeries, and if the conversation just revolved around that, I think most people would have been much more open, listening to everything, but unfortunately, some just cannot help themselves. So let's just for 1 second remove MrBeast from this conversation, as he should have been removed from the beginning, and talk about the surgery and why so many people do not actually have access to this. A large portion of this debate has centered around the fact that surgeries like this, and why it should not actually come down to a YouTuber to pay for it, but rather the government. Free healthcare has always been a controversial subject in America, and it is not really something that I ever understood. Why would you want to pay for something if it can be given to you for free? By the way, it is also not free. It will come from your tax dollars. Now, with this said, many people are against the idea of free healthcare because they feel like the service will just completely go downhill, and it will also stifle innovation. Both arguments I find to be ridiculous. If healthcare is properly funded, you will not have any issues. In Canada they do this, but it is worth pointing out that their own system is also not great. The reason why it is not great though is not that public healthcare does not work, but rather because it is horribly underfunded by politicians who receive large campaign donations from private companies that are against the idea of any public healthcare because it will interfere with their business. In terms of the quality of care, have you ever seen these videos from healthcare professionals like nurses and what they go through? Ultimately, I know that it is something that many people will not agree with, but I find it ridiculous that people, especially those who can already not afford anything, would argue for the fact that they want to go completely bankrupt in order to pay for the doctor. The people who complain the most are the people who will benefit the most from free health care. Anyway, that is my opinion, but if you want to disagree with that, then I will respect your feelings on the matter. Ultimately, it is for you to decide what is best for you. My opinion should not factor into that. Anyway, as I have mentioned, this is where lots of the rage over the video has come from. People were frustrated by the fact that so many people are virtually blind, and all that is standing between them and being able to see again is the fact that they are not able to pay for the medical procedure. Then he felt extremely outraged by this, and it is most likely coming from people who are going through situations where they have been diagnosed with something but cannot get the treatment that they need because of the high prices. Something that many people feel the government should be using tax money on instead of other things. Vice in their article wrote, in a video uploaded on Sunday, YouTuber MrBeast announced that he was going to help 1,000 blind people see for the first time by sponsoring their cataract surgeries. It's gonna be crazy, MrBeast says, in front of an audience of applauding patients. Throughout the video, MrBeast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, talks to people about their blurred eyesight before their surgery. After they emerge from the 10-minute surgery joyful at their newfound sight, he dishes out lucrative prizes like $50,000 or gifting a brand new Tesla. The heartwarming video drew immediate attention, not least because the premise of a life-improving surgery being directly gifted by a wealthy YouTuber in an inspirational viral video seems slightly dystopian. MrBeast has said he spends $8 million a month on his videos, and by his estimate, his business valuation is $1.5 billion. I watched this video and I'm filled with rage that we shut off access to a 10-minute procedure because we paywalled it and decided that only some people can get it, leftist streamer Mr. Piker said of MrBeast's video. It's so insanely frustrating that it's up to one YouTube guy to decide to make content out of it, that people who are too poor just can't see. Piker's point wasn't lost on MrBeast. Nowhere in the video does MrBeast mention that the inability for someone without means to get cataract surgery in the US is the result of failing healthcare policy or the insurance industry, rather than a lack of access to MrBeast. However, he did point out that the surgeries should just be free on his Twitter account, and wondered why the government doesn't step in to help. Now, MrBeast for his part does actually agree with all of this because he did take to Twitter and stated that this is something that the government should actually cover. He stated on Twitter, "I don't understand why curable blindness is a thing. Why don't governments step in and help? Even if you're thinking purely from a financial standpoint, it's hard to see how they don't get a return on investment for taxes from people being able to work again." For me, where most of the conversation got too much was when people took that anger and decided to direct all of this over to MrBeast. It is not his fault this pay-to-win system is in place, and his biggest crime here was using the money that he has earned on YouTube to help pay for people who cannot see. A deed that is undoubtedly good no matter how you look at it. He could have done more videos where he just gives away money or goes and visits more islands or other luxury places, but instead, he decided to do something truly wonderful and give 1,000 people the ability to see once again. In my eyes, this is the actions of a great person who did a great deed for people who truly were in need.